Hi there, it's Grant here from the Investment of a Decade, and today I want to share a really important article that Teeka Tiwari recently wrote. And it's all to do with what's happening with the Russian invasion of Ukraine and how it's obviously creating a lot of fear and how it's creating market volatility and how you can ride it out. So let's just get into the article quickly, and I'm hoping this sort of helps you. So his title is "The World is Scary, but the Market Always Recovers." So it's no great surprise that we've been some pretty rough times over the past couple of years. First, it was COVID for the past 2 years, and then the chinks of light of recovery out of COVID have shone. And then what happens? Russia invades the Ukraine, and as soon as Russia invades the Ukraine, media jump all over it and create sensationalist headlines, such as these here, which sends people into a panic, and hence people sell all their assets. And then the market goes into huge volatility. So, there's a lot of fear around at the moment. People are selling off their assets, and it's obviously creating a lot of market volatility. But I think this is the whole point of his article, is how you can ride this volatility out until the Russian-Ukrainian sort of conflict sort of resolves itself. So basically, he goes on to say that the journey to wealth is pretty simple, really. And his advice here is really, if you've got great assets, hold on to them. Don't get emotional. Don't sell them off. Because you're scared that obviously the markets might crash because of what's happening in Ukraine. If you found great assets, hold on to them and ride out the storm. Because like all bad times, these rough times will pass. No one knows how long the Russia-Ukrainian, crisis will go on for. And at the end of the day, once that's resolved, we don't know how long it's going to take, to pick up the pieces so the market recovers. But Teeka's advice here is, if you found great assets, hold on to them. And a great example here is obviously, if back in the day you saw that when Apple was talking about its iPhone, if you saw that was going to be in millions of people's tens of millions of people's hands 10 years down the road, and you bought stock, and you held on to them till now, you'd be an extremely wealthy person. That's basically Teeka's advice here. If you found great assets, whether it's crypto, blockchain investments, or something else, don't panic, don't get emotional, hold on to them, ride out this storm, because you will benefit in the long term. Because he also goes on to say that obviously, you don't want to sort of look back in 5, 10, 20 years time, when you had fantastic assets, but you got emotional during this very worrying period, you sold them, and potentially you did yourself out of potentially a lot of money. So that's basically advice. Find great assets and hold on to them. That's one of his pillars of building wealth. But I just want to show how he's seeing how the Ukrainian conflict is affecting the market. So basically, the market is already on edge and worried about interest rates from the Fed. And basically, Wall Street predicts that the Federal Reserve will raise interest rates anywhere from 6 to 9 times over the next years, which is 150 to 225 basis points. But Teeka argues that this will not happen because the federal government is the largest debtor in the world, and it pays approximately 1.5% in interest on its debt. Those payments amount to over $700 billion a year. If interest rates doubles, that's almost 20% of the entire federal budget allocated to interest payments. And he argues that there's just no way that they're going to do this. So as it relates to Ukraine, he says, I think this situation actually works in our favour as longer term investments. Certainly not in the short term. It's not pleasant to go through, but he thinks that in the long term, that this turmoil will sort of benefit us. So basically Teeka's saying he's not worried because he thinks the key is, if you own great assets, do not sell them. You've got to, in these times, you've got to be willing to take the temporary hit of these events as the market sort of tumble. Don't sort of think that, don't get emotional and sell them all. If you've got great assets and you believe in them, hold on to them, because you're going to benefit big time when we come out of these uncertain times. And that's basically what Teeka says. Find great assets, hold on to them during these scary times, and then the market will recover. I mean, a good example of this is obviously back in 2008 when we had the credit crunch. The markets crashed, but the incredible thing then was obviously what happened when that resolved. Markets shot up and went through a period of, really, some good times in the market. A lot of wealth was made on the back of a credit crunch as markets recovered. So that's basically what Teeka's advice here. Find great assets, hold on to them, don't panic, don't sell everything off, hold on to your assets if you think they're good, because you will benefit in the medium to long term once all this situation has been resolved. So that's what I've got for you today. I hope it's helped for you, because I know there's a lot of fear at the moment, obviously around what's happening with the Russia-Ukraine conflict. But I'm hoping this advice from Teeka in this article sort of helps calm your nerves, gives you a bit of clarity about what you should be focusing on in the medium to long term. But final thing I'll say, obviously, if you want more advice from Teeka Tiwari, he's got a service called the Palm Newsletter. I've been a member of the Palm Newsletter now for over 18 months, and it has really, really helped me, especially in regards to crypto. Teeka, there's all sorts of good things in the Palm Newsletter. He's got his monthly newsletter, which goes into great depth about what he's focusing on in terms of the investment side. You've got his free report, or his in-depth reports, which focus closely on a single asset, explain why that asset's sort of a good investment idea, and then he gives picks in order to invest in that asset. And then obviously you've got his model portfolio, which lists out all of the investments he's advising his clients to invest in. And then you've got crypto course, which gives you everything you need to know about understanding crypto, the blockchain, how crypto works, and how you can invest in cryptocurrency. So I love the Palm Newsletter. I highly recommend it. It's only $40. You can get it now for $49. It's usually $199. Get it now for $49. I'll put a link below in the description and in the comments. If you like Teeka Tiwari and you like his advice, and you like the sort of foundation of advice in this newsletter, I highly recommend you join his Palm Newsletter, because there's a lot of interesting stuff in there that will help you build your wealth in the coming years. So that's all I've got for you today. Hope you found it useful and informative, and I'll speak to you soon.